Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? I know that you see, and then I'm on my channel, but we're also streaming on someone else's channel, and I am excited because I have a special guest. So we're special guests on each other's channel tonight. So welcome for a late night. Stay up, a little cup of coffee, and we're just going to chit chat and have some fun. So welcome everybody. So I'm going to bring on my special guest, and here she is. We all love her. I know I do. And here's Kristen. Where did it go? No. Well, that didn't work out like I planned.
Can you see
there
me?
She is. See? There she is. I got her.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Mary. How's it going?
It's going good. We chatted for a few minutes before we had to go on live. We've chatted on the phone, but it was real nice to be able to do it via person. So how is everybody doing? It is. You don't have to be solo.
Cool.
Hey, Miss Mona.
Oh, we got a friend.
And Elizabeth.
Hi, Moni69. Hi, Elizabeth. I've seen Moni69 before in Lifeboat chats. Nice to see you again. So cool. Hi, Mimi Loves Crochet. Oh,
yes.
This is so much fun.
She's getting exposed to some... Kristen's getting exposed to some of my friends, and she's on her channel. So if you haven't, please go over to Kristen Melinda and love her channel for me. Subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Her channel is always in my descriptions below. So we just figured out it's late. I had a nap, so why don't we just get on and chit chat?
Yeah, for me, this is when if I go live, it's usually around this time because that's when my 4-year-old, almost 5-year-old, that's when he's asleep. It's when the husband's asleep. Even the dog's usually asleep. So I have time to do what I want to do. So that's usually why I'm late like this most of the time.
Well, I know that.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of that. For those that don't know, Kristen is raising a beautiful autistic individual, and so did I. So I know exactly what those times are when you're up and you're going, this is me time.
Yeah, yeah. That's one of the ways that we connected.
Yep. And Moore says he just popping in to just say hi. I need to go to bed and get up at 6:30. Well, you go get your sleep. I don't have to be up at 6:30.
Hi, Zach's Crafts. Sleep well, Zach. I hope that you have a great night's sleep.
I'm drinking some of that coffee AM I have in my description. The salted caramel decaf. Delicious.
Salted caramel is one of my favorites. I love that combination. I love the sweet and salty flavor combination. That's one of my favorites.
Yes. You can have the anchovies.
We were talking about this the other day. I love anchovies. Yes. I can eat them by themselves. Like, I haven't in a long time because it's a lot of sodium. It's a lot of salt. It's not great for you, but I can if I have them.
We had a friend of ours. We went, and for those that don't know, I'm a huge Elvis fan, but I was in an Elvis club, and we decided to order pizza. We left one person in charge who decided to fill every pizza that was ordered with anchovies. And
nobody else wanted any.
No. All the pizzas were covered in anchovies. And I was like, and even when you took off the anchovies, you still tasted anchovies on the pizza. Nobody could have any.
Oh, no. It left the taste of it, huh?
Oh, gosh. It was my one and last experience. I wasn't going to have it.
I don't always have to eat them on pizza. Sometimes I put them in salad, but I started enjoying anchovies when I was really little. Like when I was a really little girl, it was one of those weird foods that my dad liked to eat. And so I just tried it one day and I was like, it's salty. It's basically just tastes really, really salty. Mimi Loves Crochet says anchovies are nasty and salty. Well, yeah, they're nasty if you don't like them.
Girl after
I'll
my own
take
heart.
the anchovies that you guys don't want. I'll take them.
But I think we could pretty much cover you're never going to try Vegemite again.
It was bad. You guys, I did a trial of Vegemite and I videoed it and I put it on my channel. Because if you watch like slightly older Lifeboat episodes, you'll see them Tommy going on and on about how awful Vegemite is, and I always thought he has to be exaggerating. Like this has to be for just fun and theatrics. I'm gonna try it, and it's not gonna be that bad. It was that bad.
Your face told it all.
It was that bad.
I put Kristen's link in the chat, so everybody go over and sub to her, please. The minute you put it in your mouth, girl, that was it. That was it. Mimi says
it was
it's
not
an acquired taste. I'm not
so I've
trying
been told. I don't know if I could spend enough time acquiring it. I still have it on my desk though, because what else do you do with it? Yeah. If I need to wake up, I can smell it because it smells bad.
I tried anchovy on a slice of pizza once and I spit it out right on. That was it. That was it.
I don't know. I don't think anchovies are an acquired taste. I think those are. Oh, this is a good question. Why am I having so much trouble getting the therapy help I need? That's a good question. Do you have a therapist or are you trying to find one? Because finding a good therapist can be really hard. You know, say a little bit more about what's going on there. I know a lot of people have a hard time finding just a therapist like available. A lot of people have a hard time finding one that takes their insurance too.
And one you connect with.
Yeah, and one that you get along with. I had to fire a therapist of mine.
I mean, you know, I know for the one I'm going to now, I feel connected. And the first one I tried to do by phone. And I went into my husband's, he had to do therapy. And so we found a therapist. I just went in support with him and we connected. And her name is Mary. So it must have been a sign or something. But you're talking about really heavy stuff sometimes, and you have to be able to connect with it.
Yeah. Trying to find one for PTSD and substance abuse as a child. Yeah, that's a specific.
Yes.
So are you in the United States? Like I am in the state of Texas, and I know a lot of therapists in this state. I know a lot of people licensed in this state. But I know that if you're not in the state of Texas, there's a resource called Psychology Today that is pretty helpful. You're in Texas? Oh, okay, cool. What part? So I know several that take telehealth that I don't know if you're wanting to see someone in person or if you're wanting to do like Zoom or telehealth. Longview, actually. I kind of know that area. This is interesting. I didn't, yeah, I used to travel out to Longview every once in a while. I know there's a community mental health care clinic out there, but they don't always have great availability. Are you wanting to see someone in person, or are you open to seeing someone on like Zoom, like on telehealth too? Because some people really like to go in person. But sometimes it's harder to find availability with somebody. You were led here tonight. I'm glad that you were led here tonight. It's nice to meet you. Either or, you'd be open to either or. And Zach says,
I'm on a wait list for my doctor referred me to one, but they said that there's a wait list for everyone in Canada.
There's a wait list everywhere in Canada. Wow. Well, I can say that I am about to start working with a practice in Texas that has a lot of therapists that are available on telehealth. I don't know if I want to make sure that I'm following all the rules of advertising and things like that. So if there's a way that we can like connect like individually, like offline or something, I can try to share some of those resources with you. But they do telehealth. They're actually out of Garland, which is the Dallas area, but they do telehealth if you're open to that and you're having a hard time finding someone who's close to you physically.
Hi, Mischief.
Mischief!
She said hi to both of us. Yes, the cost is unreal.
For sure. Are you...
Mimi, can you email me some information? Maybe like if you have insurance.
Yeah, I can
what
connect
insurance
with
you
you
may
through...
have, and
Yeah.
see if we can get some help, because there has to be some cost that can maybe do it on a sliding scale or something like that.
Yeah, there are some that take sliding scale. There are some that work with insurance. In Longview specifically, there's a resource there. I think I'll have to look up their name. There's a community resource that they either charge little to nothing, but sometimes they struggle to have availability. After bills, I have less than $200. Yeah, that's... Well, then you should qualify for sliding scale or free. You should.
Exactly.
Actually, I remember...
And Mimi, I totally know about Social Security disability. And Zach, let me just tell you something right now. As encouragement, I went to counseling. I figured out, I really kind of went because I had a change in my life. I was suddenly an empty nester. I was also kind of navigating a relationship with, my daughter and my son-in-law and all those kind of things. I didn't think I needed to talk about anything or unload anything. Everything's in my past. I don't need to go through it again. And I went from my husband, who may be going through down the road weight loss surgery, and they required him to go to see a therapist. I'll go to support him. What I have found out through therapy is I wish I had done it a heck of a lot sooner, because there's things that I've come up with that I go, man, I've been carrying that around for how long now? And I didn't need to carry it around, and I could have gotten rid of it. And, we're going into things like, how I use food in the wrong way, and going back to, what happened with my uncle and all those things. I don't need to deal with this stuff. But I do, and it's helping me to not carry it, and it's helping my husband tremendously. It's like, why didn't I do this sooner? So, and I know Kristen's, she's had struggles, and she's talking to somebody, and it's helping you. So don't stop, go. And it's nervous and it's not fun to go through it, but you're going to feel better at the end. I wish I'd done it a lot sooner.
Absolutely. My therapy, I have been in all kinds of therapy since I was a teenager. Some of it more helpful than others, but when you find somebody that you really click with, you really trust and have a connection with, it really helps. It really makes a huge difference.
Well, that must have been some story, Mimi.
Yeah.
Working accident while working in a correctional officer for male maximum prison.
Wow.
That's got to be some stories there, I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. Was that around the Texas area? I did an internship at a women's prison in the Fort Worth area. Married son and daughter. Who told me it's affecting my family. Well, those things, yeah, that can happen. Especially you said that you're needing help working on issues related to trauma. Trauma can affect the way we react to things. Sometimes we're not even aware of it.
We're not. Hey, Mrs. Sunrise Dawn is in the house from Georgia. Welcome.
Hi, Sunrise Dawn. Nice to see you. Congratulations on that grandbaby again.
Yes, congratulations on the grandbaby. I know for me, when my daughter got married, you're learning a whole new culture and a whole new family and a whole new person. And I just needed someone to kind of walk with me. Not that I thought that I was going to go back to any of this stuff. And I ended up doing it, not realizing, what happened with my uncle, which I did a little thing on Surviving Together and told that story, that still affects me today. And she had to go through the story over and over, and this trauma processing, you're going over and over and over till you can tell it with no emotions. And I said to her, I still don't think that I could ever get to the point where my husband can call me dear, because he used to do that all the time, is call everybody dear. And it was like, it's not an endearing word. And she said, that's fine. But we got to get you to the point where you're not going to look at that story with a reaction behind it. Well, send me what information and we will see what we can do to help, because we're not going to have nobody suffering in silence.
Yeah. Yep. In the meantime, Mimi loves crochet. You said you're in Longview. While we're waiting to connect, I know that in that area, Community Health Corps is the name of a local mental health clinic. That's a community mental health clinic. They take Medicare for their outpatient services. Sometimes they have a wait list, but they do have a crisis hotline in case that you are in crisis and need immediate assistance. So that's Community Health Corps. I actually, and they're local. It's not like one of those national hotlines. It's like if someone's in crisis, they're local. They're in Longview.
And have Mimi, that's for
Community
you.
Health Corps? Yeah, they have a long wait list.
There's ones for you. Ones means we're just sending prayers and support, because nobody should have to go through abuse. Nobody, not anybody, not any child, not anybody should have to go through them.
Absolutely. I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad I'm meeting people.
I'm glad you are too.
I don't put this out there a whole lot because I don't currently use my license. I'm about to. I'm a licensed professional counselor in the state of Texas. I currently I have a corporate job. I'm not in practice right now, but I actually gave my notice to that corporate job today so that I can go back into it. So that'll be about June 10th when I go back into actually being a therapist and doing what I went to school to do. So
I found Kristen on the lifeboat, and she came into my channel, and we just started talking to each other and realizing that both of us do not know what friendship looks like. We both have had struggles with that. And it's like, oh, how do we do this whole friendship thing? And we have just, the times when one's down, the other one picks one up, and I can tell, I'm like, okay, how you doing? And kind of breaking those tapes on both sides. But we don't know how this friendship thing goes. How do we do this?
Yeah.
And
I agree. It's been a long time. I mean, I have a lot of work, professional relationships, but I hadn't just made friends outside my family in a long time. And Mary, you're just an awesome friend. At midnight, I'm having a bad day. I'm like, I'm sad. You're like, hey, what you need? You want to talk on the phone? Mary's a great friend. I'm really lucky to have you. And you were actually, I think, when I first started coming and hanging out in the lifeboat chats and things like that, I didn't I was kind of weird about talking to anyone on the phone. I was kind of nervous about it. But you made me feel comfortable, and that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
I was one of your first mods.
Yeah, you were. You were my very first mod.
Very
first mod.
I said, you need to have some mods in case we have some trolls not behaving.
Yeah, I probably need some more.
I made her a mod too as well. And I'm glad, Mimi, that's not something that we have to be concerned about.
Good.
Because, unaliving never solves anything. We know that.
Right.
Well, I'm glad, me mom, that means a lot. And if you like Kristen, you will find that you will be able to trust her too, because she is awesome. But coming here and talking about it and putting it out there, that you're struggling with it, is why there's channels happening and the ripples are happening. And I haven't seen 7th yet, but We'll throw this one up for 7th, right?
Ah,
Figuring all this stuff out.
It scrolls. That's amazing.
Yes, you can do that
I
on
love
the
that.
upgraded StreamYard. Yeah, I'm having all this fun.
So cool.
So if 7th pops in, that's for you. Because he was the one that got that term, nothing but ripples.
Nothing but ripples. I like it. I like it very much.
So, that's why we're
still
doing it.
learning how
Oh,
to-
you're welcome, Mimi. That's why we're doing this. Good night. I'm not going to be alone. I refuse to do it anymore. I'm not allowed.
I like it. Because there's still like a tendency, like if you've gotten used to kind of isolating, there's still like a tendency to want to, but it doesn't help, I've never not been helped by reaching out to someone I trust like you. Like that I always feel better afterwards. Always.
That's interesting that she studied body language. That Mimi has.
Oh wow.
That's pretty cool. Well, I'm glad.
That is cool.
Yeah, I'm just me. I can't be anybody else with me.
Yeah.
I tried it. It don't work.
I'm glad you feel the warmth in the chat, Mimi. That makes me happy. Because I feel it like genuinely.
This shows friendship.
Well.
This shows
exactly.
friendship that we have built over several months and trusted each other. Oh boy, we're in trouble now. Look who's here.
Do I have to eat a spicy peanut
himself.
now? I might. Hello, Chase the Heat.
We have a legend in the house.
Nice to see you. Oh, Mystdragon. Hi, Mystdragon. Nifty.
Hey, Mr. Chase the Heat.
Well, I guess
I'm going to have to send you some of the pepper jam that I sent Tommy and Johnny. And you can try that. I guarantee you that will be 10 times better than that Vegemite stuff you tried to put in your mouth.
That was for fun. That was for fun and trying new things and seeing if it was true.
He said he's not.
I wanted to know if the rumors were true.
Well, me mom, Chase the Heat is Johnny, and his brother is the lifeboat, which is Tommy. And so, but Johnny can tell you that, Johnny can tell you about the pepper jam. It was good, and you can do that.
I watched that video and I almost bought it. I Googled the name of the company and I had my finger on the button and I don't know why I didn't order it. I'm not sure.
That's because I'm supposed to.
I fell asleep. Oh, so it was meant to be. I think that was before we were talking like on the phone and stuff though. Like
I just love watching then later, Johnny's face. It's hysterical. So I put in Johnny's chat. Sure. Johnny's. I can't talk. I put in Johnny's chat or Johnny's channel for the people to go subscribe there. And I'm putting in the lifeboat for people that hasn't
on my channel too, and all my description boxes.
Yeah, I need to put Chase the Heat there. I can't eat hot stuff. He said, "Oh, I understand now why you ordered that. You bought it for us."
I'm kidding.
Why you bought the pepper jam because you loved it so much. But I can't eat it. Neither can my husband.
Aww.
I just saw bacon and peppers and figured out, well,
I mean, you can't go wrong with bacon.
Send it to him, but his face is just too much.
Mimi says, my son and I eat the heat. I like it.
Bit iffy on the Mexican candy. So, Mimi, if you're not put in with the lifeboat, that's a great support system too as well.
Absolutely. A lot of good Ripples channels from that too.
Anytime I want to laugh, I just watch the bacon episode. So funny.
I think probably
I now have to send him like a bottle for him, a bottle for Tommy, and one to put on a ham.
Of the bacon pepper jam?
Yes, because it can become a glaze, but it never made it to a ham because they devoured it.
That sounds delicious.
Yes.
But I can understand why it wouldn't make it there.
Yep. It did not make it to the... It didn't make it.
So I actually have stuff right here. Look. This was way tastier than this, but I can only eat like one of these. I'm only.
God bless you.
Bless you, sir. Bless you.
Video that they did that in there.
You know what though? Like if you're in a bad mood, a really, really spicy peanut like wakes you up.
I know I didn't have to, Johnny. I know I didn't have to. Johnny says, bless you too, Josh.
Oh, thank you.
My studio's in my bedroom, so you may hear him.
Y'all will know if my child wakes up. He'll let us know.
Well,
He'll be noisy.
At that point, when I sent that package to Tommy, it was a huge thank you because the lifeboat became real. And I was not, I was having connections, and I was not suffering in silence anymore. I had connections. And so for me, sending that box full of just things that I knew Tommy would love and he would love was my way of saying thank you, because it has literally been life-changing. You know, when I came on, I think it was the eclipse, and I said all I wanted to do was go in the bedroom, go stay in my bedroom and escape and pretend I didn't exist. Everybody in chat that knew me was like, no, you can't do that anymore. You're not allowed to do that anymore. And it literally was just thank you. And they did not have any Easter candy corn this year. I thought for sure they've had
What
it
is
for
the flavor
Christmas.
of Easter candy corn? How is that different? What's
I'll
it
have to
taste
send it
like?
to you. They had it for Christmas. They had it for February, for Valentine's Day. I thought for sure they'd have pastel colors for Easter. Nope. They may have 4th of July candy corn. Then I'll have to send that one to
like in
the
red,
Admiral.
white, and blue. That's wild. Mary, that's one of the things that is so cool about you is that you think to do things like that. And like you're just a great friend. Like
I try to be.
You don't let me isolate either. And that's amazing. That's really helpful because I'm really good at that when I want to be. Like I'll go hide in my hole and be like, oh, I'm sleepy. Like it's fine. Like I'm fine. I'm fine.
I also sent them.
You don't let me do that.
My crochet caddies. This is the only thing in round that I can do halfway decent. Not this trophy.
I love the little floppy trophy. He makes me happy.
I can't get rid of it now, but it feels like one of those things you just.
Everybody loves the floppy trophy.
I know, but I sent them these. This is my soap caddies. And I make them, I've named them after Tommy, because first they were soap savers, and then he came up with soap caddy. So I put a little piece of paper in with them, and I named the lifeboat. And that was the one who came up with a name so that the people go back to the lifeboat. But you put the little soap thing in. So I've got a pile of soap savers, soap caddies that I'm working with.
Do you put like your bar soap in it and then it kind of acts like a washcloth, or does it just hold it? Okay.
And then you put your bar soap in, and then usually there's a tire. I have ones that are done.
A tire?
Yep.
Oh, like a drawstring kind of thing?
Drawstring. And then you just go like this, and you put the soap in, and you just, and then when you're done with this thing, you throw it in the wash and start all over again.
You know, I had like a mesh version of that once, but the mesh one you can't wash. Like it comes apart.
See, he loves his. Plastic. He got one. He loves his.
Awesome. I wish I could crochet.
Thanks, has one too. That's okay, Dawn Gloves. You're here when you're supposed to be. So I have a special project for all my soap caddies. But I'm making a bunch of them because I put them in my purse, and then when I meet somebody that I want to share my channel with or share whatever, I can just hand them something that they're going to use every day.
Oh, and then they'll think of you. That's really.
I can do one in about a half an hour flat.
Really?
Yes. So I can make them really quick.
Fast then. That's amazing.
And it's the only thing in round that's halfway decent.
The closest thing I learned how to sew a button back on. I'm very proud of myself.
Than I am.
But I can't crochet. I can't knit. I can't do any of that.
I think I have a little problem.
That's not
It's
a
a good
problem.
problem though. That's all my cotton
Yeah.
yarn.
I mean,
I always get it on sale. I'm a
it's
responsible
only a
crocheter.
problem if it's hurting you or other people.
No,
I
it's
think that's
saved me
helping you, helping
tremendously.
other people. Yeah. That's a positive coping skill and it makes other
What
people
was the
happy.
big news? I don't know what the big news is.
There's big news.
Oh,
Oh,
wait.
I have been neglecting our chat.
What was your big news? I don't know, except we're together on a stream.
Mine? Oh, Miss Sunrise Dawn's. Miss Sunrise Dawn's big news.
Okay. I got lost in the chat. I got busy with the crochet.
Yeah, that's easy to do. I have been not looking as close.
Oh, you got to scream. I missed it. See, I got to pay attention to the yarn and I forgot to tell. Congratulations
I have my
on
phone
the
over here, too.
grandbaby. I can't wait to have a grandbaby one day. I just want a girl. I just want girl. That's it. That said the Lord. Just give me one girl one day.
For a long time, my parents just had a grand cat. They did not have a grandchild. Because I was in my 20s and irresponsible and had no business being a parent yet. I'm still kind of winging it, but I'm better at it than I would have been in my 20s.
I purchased 45 sugar cream cotton and 2 large natural cotton. Yeah, for my soap savers, or soap caddies, the only ones I use is the Hobby Lobby cotton.
I saw that Johnny chased the heat. Sleep well. I hope you
Thank
can get
you
some
for
sleep.
stopping in, boy. You
Thanks
made
for
our
coming
night.
by. Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
I hope that
that
you're
was
able
awesome.
to sleep tonight.
You have a good
Sweet
night's
dreams.
sleep. I hope
Yeah.
Squirrel doesn't keep you all up. Say hi to Tommy for us.
Yeah, he said earlier she's running back and forth between the rooms. It's a very cat thing to do. Good night. And wake refreshed. I love that. Has anybody ever woken refreshed? Like,
what is that?
I don't. Mystdragon said, "Rest well, Johnny, and wake refreshed." I have never woken up refreshed, but I've never been a morning person. Like, I know that there are people out there that have that experience, that have a good night's sleep and wake up feeling like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I've never been that person. I'm always hitting the snooze button like 10 times.
It's fun to hang out with you. You're welcome in my chat anytime.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Subscribe. Do the subscribing bit. To both of our channels, if you come in here and you haven't done it to mine yet or Kristen's, just hit that.
Click the
subscribe.
buttons. Just click all the buttons. They're all good.
Exactly.
They're all good buttons. Yeah.
Yep. But I've just said to my daughter, when you have one, see, he comes from a family of 3 other brothers.
Oh, wow.
So apparently there's a very high chance of boys in his family.
Really?
Just one granddaughter. And one granddaughter that wants to learn how to crochet would be even better, because my daughter wants nothing to do with it. She's tried, but she doesn't like it.
The boys could learn to crochet too, right? I mean, I don't know. They may not want to sit still long enough. Can. Sometimes boys don't want to sit still.
They can.
But you would like a granddaughter too. So
I just want one granddaughter. That's all I want. One granddaughter.
Yeah. I was the only girl in my family. My parents, I have 2 brothers. One is older and one is younger. Fortunately. Oh, wow. There's lots of exciting things happening in the chat right now.
Yes, there is.
It's really cool. I can change the subject somewhat. Oh, that's right. Happy birthday to your youngest daughter, Miss Sunrise Dawn. Oh.
I'm going to have my daughter.
Mine will be 5 next month.
Have my daughter sing a happy birthday song, and I can record it. You don't want to hear me sing.
I can say Feliz cumpleaños. That's Spanish for happy birthday.
That's crochet good that group. You were in a group.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's fun to do the in-person thing. Like this is pretty cool because I get to like see you and talk to you. This is pretty cool. Especially because I have only talked to you on the phone
like I've said to people, this is not replacing the fire pit. It's not the replacing going out and having lunches and all that kind of stuff. I know that raising a child with any kind of special needs means you are tired a lot of the times.
Yeah,
I don't know how you're still up after he goes to bed. I really don't. But
I'm not sure either. Honestly, I don't know.
I think he was in the
Adrenaline,
house,
I
but he
think.
left. But
Adrenaline.
you know, I know for
The
myself,
adrenaline of life.
when I got done with going to work, then coming back, making dinner, taking care of Christina, trying to get her in the bed, it was like there was no going out. I was too tired. And then on the weekends when she was over at my mother's house, I was sleeping. And I go back to bed and sleep.
Yeah.
I was just there was no, I didn't do that.
I have a similar experience. I don't go out very often because it's a big thing. There's not a lot of babysitters that can keep up with him. So
Yep.
we tend to, like, his
You
dad
don't
and I
do it.
tend to like switch off. Like the weekends, it's almost like we're in shifts. Like I'll rest and he'll watch our kiddo, and then we'll switch, and then he'll rest and I'll watch our kiddo. Which is not ideal, but that's the way people get rest, basically. The way people take care of themselves. I mean, I love my son, like absolutely, totally, but he has so much energy. Like he's not someone that
Yeah.
sits and like plays quietly at all, not even a little bit. He has a zest for life. I'll say that.
And you don't want to put somebody that is not familiar with somebody dealing with any kind of special need. You don't want to do it.
No,
You know,
yeah,
you don't do it. So then you don't get anybody else in to do it.
exactly.
Oh my goodness, you had a child that nearly drowned. Oh my goodness.
Oh my
Thank God.
gosh. I'm glad that was near and not. I mean, that's terrifying.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, we'll always take box of yarn from people that don't want it anymore. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'll take more
Yeah,
yarn.
for sure.
No problem with that, right, Mimi? But I didn't
Send all of
go
your
out.
homeless yarn to Mary.
I wasn't going to put my 5-year-old child with a regular babysitter that didn't understand
I know.
how to handle a meltdown. No way.
Right.
And I know we've talked, and I don't think your son has meltdowns like my daughter did, but it was exhausting.
Yeah, not from what you've described. He
3 hours long.
Yeah, his don't last that long. Like he will get really escalated and he will get very upset, but then he'll move on really fast. His big thing is he has to be in this constant motion to regulate himself. If he is made to like be still, that's when he starts to melt down. That's when he starts to lose it. He has to be constantly on the go.
Christina didn't need to be constantly on the go, but she just, the littlest thing, like if we had her shower and then we had her dinner and we flipped it, oh my Lord, it was like,
oh, if you messed up the routine,
3 hours
my kiddo
long.
does not like when we mess up the routine either.
No, it was, I mean, it could last for 3 hours. I mean, it was just,
that's exhausting.
it just, there was, and it wasn't, meaning of 3 hours is what I mean is, she would have a meltdown and then she would get better and then she would go back. And then it was like, until I could relax and go, is it over yet now? And
it's hard to sit with that for 3 whole hours, with that level of upset from your kid.
But that's where Jordan came in. That was her autism service dog. When he came into the picture and he was sitting there, he could warn me, hey, she's going to have something. And she would put his leash on. Mom, why isn't he going where I want to? Well, it's because you need him on that deep pressure. And once that deep pressure went on her, it was like,
and my son loves deep pressure too. He loves like really tight hugs. Sometimes like when he's sitting on the couch, he'll try to get one of us to like lean back against him. He loves deep pressure. That's interesting.
How much does your dog weigh?
Our dog is about 36, 38 pounds, which is just a little right around like a little bit less than my son weighs now. He's a string bean. He's a tall kid, but he's skinny because he never stops moving.
The dog would lay on him and see if it helps.
He might.
A weighted blanket may help if he's liking that. Yes,
we do have a weighted blanket that he likes sometimes. We also have tried, like they make little like vests, like little weighted
that
vests.
Are weighted.
We call it his heavy shirt. Every now and then when he's really upset, we ask him, "Do you want your heavy shirt?" And sometimes he'll be like, "Yes." We're fortunate in that he can communicate, like he can speak. I mean, there's other ways to communicate, obviously, but it's a little bit easier for like other people to pick up on what he needs if he can speak like that. But he doesn't use language like most kids his age. You know, he has a lot of like scripting, and he's been in speech therapy since he was 2. So that helped a lot, but it's very functional. Like it's very, I want that. Like he usually is not gonna just like shoot the breeze with you about your day, you know.
He'll get there.
I know I've heard Christina speak, and she speaks great. She has conversations like anybody.
Would you believe that child was very quiet? I can't get her to be quiet now. I'm serious. Oh my goodness. That's we did funny. An interview because we raised the money for Jordan. Jordan was about $15,000 for the service dog. And they did the interview. And I've since lost it on Channel 10. That was down in Florida.
Oh, wow.
And she was just this quiet little, I mean, it was just like the difference in after and before the dog were just amazing. She was this little quiet little thing and didn't want to ask. And now you can't get her to shut up. It's fine. I don't want her to shut up. Listen, I'm her mama. I'm allowed to razz her a little bit, just a little bit.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
See all these gray hairs? Yep, she put on every solitary one of them.
From her baby.
Doubt. You haven't gotten to the gray hair stage yet. Just wait. You see them gray hairs? You're going to have them pop in going, where did I get them? Oh, yes, from the 25-year-old person.
I used to not, my camera is not good enough, but I have a couple forehead wrinkles, and that's when I got them, I'm pretty sure. It was after I had my baby. Yeah, Miss Sunrise Dawn, that's a good point. You know, most kids do better with a routine.
Yes, they do.
But kids with autism, it's like on another level. It's to a bigger extreme. Like you'll often see kiddos on the autism spectrum. They'll just totally lose it. If like, say you try to have bath time at a different time. If like one time we tried to do bath time before dinner instead of after dinner, and he just lost it. Like something as small as that. He just lost his little mind. He was so upset. He was crying. He was screaming. You would have thought that I was like, I don't know, tormenting him in some way, but it was just the flip of that. He's a little bit more adaptable now, but it's taken a lot of work.
So. A lot of work. Christina would get upset because she didn't like, she liked the smooth carrots, not the crinkle carrots. So if the crinkle carrots were out at the grocery store, oh my Lord, don't give her the crinkle carrot
textures.
She wanted the smooth carrots. There was a lady I heard of one time. She said every Thursday or every Tuesday, whatever day they picked, she stopped off at the McDonald's and got her son French fries. She said just a small order of French fries. And she said she's really wanted to stop the routine, but he was dealing with autism. And she said she just let it ride. She said she didn't care what anybody thought. It made it happy. He made it happy to have his little thing of French fries every Tuesday. That's what they did. And she wasn't going to change it. Yeah. So you find out what you need to do and you just go with it.
Yeah, we try to stick to, like, unless it's just ridiculous, we try to stick to our routines. Oh, traveling with him, though, was something else.
We didn't do it.
I try not to.
The best trip we ever did was after we had Jordan. And we went from Florida, or from Deerfield Beach on a train to Palaca. We stayed in a hotel. It took like 2 weeks to do this, Palaca. Then we went up to Gainesville to my goddaughter's wedding. Then we went to St. Augustine. I stayed in the main hotel in St. Augustine, but I was working. I had a friend who had connections with the Marriott, so I was able to get a really good deal in that hotel. And we stayed there. Then we went back to Palaca, and we went back home. All did with Jordan. It was the best vacation I'd ever had with my daughter. She was like 13 years old. And I'm like, everybody else just goes on vacation and they have fun.
I always he's my only child. I don't have any other children to compare him to, but I always marvel when people talk about being able to go out of town and go to a hotel and their 5 or 4-year-old will sleep there. Like, that's my kiddo's big thing, is in a new location. Like, the first night in a hotel with him anywhere is no one's sleeping a wink because it's too new. He can hear all the stuff in the hallway. He can't filter it out like a lot of people can.
Exactly.
I think we ended up getting him a little like pop-up tent from Walmart, and that helped a little bit because he could kind of go into it and like, have his own space, and it blocked things out a little bit.
Trying to get this comment or get this one up to read
the
this.
Sunrise Dawn, or
no, Mime had a story and I wanted to see it if I can get it. If I don't, I will read it on the replay.
I don't think. Yeah, you were right. I can't click the comments.
Now, when I get to the groups, these ladies mostly come in walking slow and complaining about their knees, backs, and hips. And back hurts. Fast forward 1 hour, the lady's hubby comes in the room. Okay, wait a minute.
Oh, there's a part 2.
Gotta find the next part of it. He placed a big box on the floor. As soon as he left, those poor ladies jumped up and went and bent over the box, grabbing bags kits. Seven full kits. Oh my goodness! You see, these girls would go crazy for yarn.
They were creaky.
It was 4 minutes of mayhem. That was one lonesome cone of cotton left. I noticed that it had gotten nothing. Ended up with cotton, which I love. Well, that's great.
That's awesome. It's amazing what the right motivation will do.
Yep.
Help you overcome your aches and pains.
I love you, Mona. Have a good night's sleep, hon.
Good night, Moni69. Good to see you. Thanks for coming.
My autistic nephew had a routine. He couldn't function. He'd be the 28th this summer and still does a lot better when he manages routine. Yep. So does my daughter. Yeah. She still does routine best if she has it. But
one of the things, sorry, go on.
Go ahead.
One of the things that kept popping up that Brady's dad and I always wonder about now that our kiddo has been diagnosed is now we start to like think back on our own childhoods and think, well, did I just maybe have some like mild form of this and I just didn't know it because people didn't like identify it back then? It's an interesting thing to think about.
I think my uncle probably was autistic. Josh is definitely autistic, if and ADHD. I think Christina has a track history of probably family members that have it. And I know people have said, oh, well, it's the shots. I can tell you right now, it was not the shots. Christina was autistic from the day she was born.
Yeah.
And I look back at it now and see exactly when. But these kids can be amazing and they can do things. We just need to educate ourselves when you're interacting with somebody with autism.
Yeah.
They're not going to look you in the eye 9 out of 10 times. So it doesn't mean, I know they've done something with police officers that said, they had to do something because they thought they were, drunk. They're under drugs.
Looking off in the other direction or something.
If you watch it, Christina's not looking you in the eyes. She really has to work to do it, and even then she doesn't do it. So that's something that if most people look at it, they may think it's, well, the person's being rude. Well, they're not being rude. They just, it's part of who what makes them. Now, she's done a couple of times on My Other's Keeper, and I said, because we do a game night on that show, on that channel every Friday, and I said to Kim, I said, people don't realize, as I was watching that. Now, Kim deals with ADHD. Christina does too. But by the time Christina's on, her meds are all worn off. Impulse control right out the window, focus and everything. And so Kim was interrupting Christina as Christina was interrupting Kim, which looks rude. And it's not. It's just that Christina's got this in her head and it's coming out, and so people need to understand that. And sometimes when you're good friends, you just tend to just think of
talk over the end of each other. Yeah.
It's the Greek part of me.
I was in a really long-term relationship with someone with ADHD. We were together on and off like 9 years. And the way he described it was always, if I don't say it, I'm going to lose it. Like I'm going to forget it. If I don't say it when it pops into my head, then I'll be distracted by something else. So he wasn't trying to be rude.
We're going to learn a new word, if I can do it. If Kristen can repeat it, or I don't know yet. It's called skolikakimo.
Skolikakimo?
So skolikakimo. So the next time your son is just wiggly, you can say to him, "You're nothing but a skolikakimo," which means, and I had a boss who said, "Oh, Mary, that sounds awful." I said, "No, it's very endearing in Greek. It means little wiggle worm."
Oh, that's
skolikakimo.
adorable.
And my grandfather used to call me, his little skolikakimo.
Oh,
sounds horrible, but
that.
That's what it is.
No, I think it's cute.
So you can say,
I do call him a wiggle worm in English. That's funny.
Well, that's what wiggle worm means in Greek, is skolikakimo. So see, you come in here, you learn.
Now I know a Greek word.
Yes.
This is awesome. I'm so glad that you reached out to me. ADHD.
I said we were going to do this. I can't always guarantee you. Sometimes it's really funny. The other
One
night,
of these days we'll go on earlier.
Well, the other night, and
I'll
I almost
arrange
put it in the chat last night, but I kept falling back asleep again. I was in the Cricket's chat.
I usually fall asleep during hers.
I almost put in this word: warning. When you fall asleep in Cricket's chat, you may never know what you may wake up to.
That's true.
It wasn't the night before. It wasn't last night. It was the night before. And I woke up halfway through her stream as I had gotten on, and then had just fallen asleep, because sometimes she'll actually, her voice will put me to sleep. It's just comforting. I don't know why. And all of a sudden I wake up and she's laughing. Now I've got my little earphones things on. So these are in my ears, right? And she's laughing up a storm and talking about subjects I'm not going to talk on like here. And I'm sitting there going, what lay myself into?
Those are for after midnight, right?
And I said, going, oh my gosh. I said, I was going to put warning, be careful if you fall asleep with Crickets live.
Be prepared. Be prepared. There was I had a night like that too, where I fell asleep during Crickets live, and then I woke up and like everything was really intense, and I was like, what? It
wasn't intense. It was just funny. And I was like, what are they talking about? Shovels? Oh boy. I was just sitting there going, I thought, and I meant to keep typing it in, but then I kept falling back asleep, and it just never got in the live. Be careful.
That's true.
Oh goodness.
Be prepared. You never know.
I think if we were in the same
fun way to wake up.
Yes. Well, somewhat and some not, if you're half asleep and you don't know what's happening.
If you like,
I wish you weren't so far away in Texas.
Me too, Mary. Me too.
We'd have a lot of
I would love to just randomly show up and hang out with you.
And I'm not crying. Whenever I laugh, I have to have tears. I don't know why. It's annoying as heck.
You could meet my skolikakimo little child.
Yes, skolikakimo. Well, I'm sure I'm going to have some grandchildren one of these days. They're going to be skolikakimos.
Probably. You know, it's funny,
Well,
my
my
little brother
daughter
was
is
like him.
extremely intelligent, and so is my son-in-law. I'm going to be in trouble.
But it's a good kind of trouble. It's a good kind of
Yes, it
trouble.
is a good kind of trouble. I just can see trouble. You gotta go wash your
You know,
face
I
and get
was
ready for bed, Dawn. Good. You did a
good
good
night,
job tonight. I
Dawn.
forgot to tell you, you did a great job. And
I have to go watch the replay. That was when I was running
yes,
around.
yes, they did a great, great job. Totally enjoyed it. And Relate-A-Boat was in there too tonight.
Oh, fun.
I was doing that and reorganizing my playlist
hmm
with my computer as I was doing all this kind of stuff.
I used to only have like 1 or 2 channels that I had notifications on, but now I have a bunch.
It's
My
grown.
son is pretty sure the granddaughter is going to be 80. Yeah, my notifications have grown, but I like to leave them on there because then I remember to go back and watch the replay if I can't catch the lives. And it's like
Well,
people I know now. Like that's the cool thing about it. Like I used to have YouTube channels on my subscription feeds that it was like, I don't know, it was just some like, I don't know, news channel or something. But now I feel like, oh, these are my friends going live. I want to go watch them, you know? I want to go hang
showed
out.
you this earlier, my little thing I wear at night.
Yeah.
And what I do is when I'm going to play at night or now, this is on.
Mhm.
So I have it hooked to my phone, and then that way I can quietly build watch hours. So if you're looking to build watch hours,
It's
I think
clever.
it's dead. Build watch hours, you can plug in earphones in or something like this, and then just allow the playlist to play. I don't want to hear myself.
I can't remember, like, so you do have some pre-recorded videos. Before
Yes.
I ever did any lives, I just did a bunch of like pre-recorded
Yeah.
videos, but like I didn't do much to them. I just put them up and I couldn't think too hard about it. Otherwise I wouldn't do it. I've kind of gotten to where like I'll try to like play it through first just to make sure there's no street signs or anything like that. But it's so weird. It's so weird to like watch yourself and like
Yes.
hear yourself because I don't
Oh,
sound like I do in my head. It's very strange. It's surreal.
well, I think I have a terrible voice.
I
Everybody says
disagree.
I have a soothing voice, and I don't.
I like your
I don't.
voice. Like when I was having a crummy day, like working the other day, and
Yeah.
everybody was upsetting me, I was like, ugh, I hate this work day. I'm just going to give Mary all the watch hours and just like play all of her stuff like in a row because that's going to keep me from yelling at people through the computer.
Well, see, Miss Dawn, I wore this right just for you. It says, "More coffee, please."
More coffee.
More
Yay!
coffee.
I have tea. Since it's late, I have tea.
Well,
right
I
now.
had decaf tea. I get my coffee from Coffee AM. I had salted caramel. It was delicious. It's in the description below if you're looking for really, really good coffee.
I need to go order it.
I have to order Spanx the bacon coffee.
Bacon coffee? What?
They have bacon flavored coffee.
This exists?
Yes, it exists. That's how I announced. That's how I announced that Jared could marry my daughter. Is I ordered you can actually get this coffee and print the name and print a little message on each bag of coffee.
Oh,
and so I ordered him like a pound of coffee, and I put on there Jared, and then when he says, "Could I have your daughter's hand in marriage to Josh and I?" We handed him the bag of coffee that says, "Yes, welcome to the family." And that was the way that we told him through having the bacon coffee, because he likes coffee. My daughter doesn't, that we could do it. But with Christina, her teacher, we used to give her like 8 ounces of Mountain Dew in the morning, and that used to help calm her down. So her teacher used to keep a Mountain Dew in the schoolroom, and the teacher would allow her to come in the classroom about 15 minutes before all the other kids came in. Sit down, chill out, relax, get used to everything. Mm-hmm. And she would give her like a 15 little thing of Mountain Dew, and it helped.
I've heard about caffeine having that effect for little kids who are rambunctious naturally, like, or have the ADD kind of tendency. Like it helps them chill out a little bit. Oh, it was good to see you, Elizabeth.
I'm glad you're here hanging out.
Me too. Me too. This has been a blast for me. This has been really fun.
Yes.
It is nice to have someone else to talk to also. I love like
Yes.
talking with the chat, interacting with the chat. But it's easy to get really like I'll just like
Yeah.
read the chat the whole time. I get really wrapped up in it.
Yeah, tea
must
can
have one.
sometimes have a high caffeinated warning.
You know what?
On it.
That's a good point. I specifically have one that's labeled caffeine free, so I should be able to. Oh no, I don't necessarily think I'll fall asleep because sleep is weird for me. I'll probably
But
still be up till 2.
it's crazy because my daughter, I have a grand dog. Sometimes I
Aww.
wonder about the grand dog. You've seen him on my channel, or her, excuse me. And Mocha is a Staffordshire Bull Terrier. I swore I'd never have a Staffy ever again. After the first one we fostered, never will I own a Staffy again. They are the only dogs I've ever come across that when they look into your eyes, it's like they're looking right into their soul. I mean, there's just the way they look at you that you're just. We had Jordan but I can't explain it unless you really have a Staffy and you've really looked in their eyes and you see them. It's just amazing.
Like soulful. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like looking into a human. It's just, they're just like little humans. But it's funny because Christina can't have her right now. And so we're taking care of her. But Christina does not like coffee. So when she adopted Mocha, I said, you can change her name. She goes, nope, I'll keep it to Mocha. Even though she doesn't like coffee.
She looks like
crazy.
Chocolate.
She got a dog. She got a dog that she doesn't like. She doesn't like coffee.
Mocha, she doesn't like. Something that I know different dog breed names. Actually, people kind of like poke fun at me sometimes because like when I take my dog for a walk, I know which houses a dog lives at, and I know how they react to my dog. And it's this thing like, oh, this dog lives here. That's a husky. This dog lives here. That's a German Shepherd.
Coffee will wake me up in the morning. In the middle of the night, if I can't sleep, coffee will also put me to sleep. So if we can understand that one, I'd like to figure that one out. But
this is interesting. It works the same as Ritalin for people with ADHD.
Yeah,
I've heard of that. But I also like read a study once that it suggested that like the stimulant meds like will improve focus in people without ADHD also. But that doesn't mean that they're like calmed down. Like maybe they're focused on what they're doing, but they're like all over the place. So
we love you, Mystdragon. We're praying for your husband, hon.
Yes, it's good to see you, Mystdragon.
Someone, as Dawn says, that the beagle eyes are the same way.
My dad hates beagles, not because there's anything wrong with them, but because he worked in a lab that was developing heartworm medication, and they used only beagles, and it was just full of beagles, and beagles are incredibly vocal.
Noisy. Yes.
Yeah. So it was like 20 beagles, like all like doing that beagle bray all at the same time. So when it came time for our family to get a dog, the only demand he had was no beagles.
I'm not a fan of beagles either.
No.
They're lovely little dogs. But we had a friend of ours that had a beagle. And I don't know what this beagle had against touching its tail. But I accidentally touched this dog's tail, and you thought I had committed the worst crime you ever could imagine.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
And this dog came after me. And I was like,
no.
Otherwise, the dog was very sweet. You just couldn't touch his tail.
That was his thing.
It was his thing. I don't know. But Miss Mocha has to have a rub down in the morning.
Like a full-on, full body massage for the dog.
I was in the kitchen. My mother was using the restroom, and she was on the bed whining because nobody had given her morning massage.
The service in the spa is terrible.
She has to have her morning rub and her morning massage, and it's like, oh my goodness, dog!
Where's her cucumber slices for her eyes? She needs her cucumber slices as well.
She wants to lay in the bed in the morning and have somebody just rub her, and then she'll get up and then she goes outside and uses the restroom. And if I come through, she'll sit because we don't pet her until she sits. Then she'll go and greet my husband. It's just she's got this little routine going on, but she does not get up out of bed without somebody massaging her.
You know, she might have something there. Maybe I should start refusing to get out of bed.
She's
until
got
I
something
get a
going. I don't know what
massage.
it is, but phew,
Maybe she knows what she's doing. Maybe
she's a hoot.
she's smart.
I'm going to be uploading a short. I have to upload a short tomorrow, but it has to deal with
A mocha
I'm
short.
going on My Other's Keeper to talk about my story of caregiving for my grandfather who had multiple sclerosis. And so my years of, having a grandfather who couldn't move below the neck and what it was like. And then as I got older, we had to caretaker for him more, and things happened and so forth. And, oh, you're welcome, Mimi. We're glad we could be here.
I appreciate you too, Mimi.
And so I will be on the boat.
Resources I have through Mary.
On Thursday with Kim to do a simulstream to be a ripple effect. Fantastic.
I have 2 close family members with multiple sclerosis. I won't say who because I don't know if they want me to. One of them is a very slow moving variation. And then the other person, it was quicker moving and they were in a wheelchair pretty quickly.
Well, he served in the military. He served in the army, and they thought he was gold bricking. So they would send him back to work harder.
What is gold bricking?
Gold bricking means you're faking it.
Oh, I've never heard that phrase before.
Yep, they thought he was gold bricking, and he went and would go to the clinic, and he would go, I'm not feeling well. This is happening and that happening. And they would send him back out to work harder. Well, when you work harder, when you have multiple sclerosis in its initial stages, it makes the condition worse and it comes on sooner. So what happened with that process was that he was the first one that got service aggravated connected disability through the government because he fought for it, because he had all these records showing that he went to the prayers. I know what that life looks like.
Many prayers for you. Still in leather.
He got service aggravated connected disability. He was one of the first because he had all the paperwork showing he went to the nursing station or whatever, complaining of this and this and this, and they thought he was gold bricking, and they would send him back working. So that opened a flood.
They could have done.
Yes, it opened a flood, and mind you, this was back in he was born in 1929. So this was back in the 50s, I want to say, at least the 50s, by the time he was serving. And so it opened the path all for everybody who needed service aggravated. So he was the first one to receive it. He fought for it, and then it opened the porthole for all the other veterans that came through. And if it hadn't been for him, it probably would eventually happen, but he was the one that fought for it. So the military had to take care of him for the rest of his life. He was 100% service aggravated connected because they refused to take his thing seriously.
Wow. I mean, how difficult and how awful that happened to him and that it aggravated his condition. But on the, how amazing an impact that had by opening the door for other people.
He was the sweetest man that I could ever. Oh my God. I got grandpa's boy. I got the lottery. I didn't realize it at the time till he was gone, how much I was really blessed to have him. And he actually was put into a lottery for an injection that they could have given him to lessen his symptoms. And he said, "No, I don't want it." He said, "Give it to somebody else." And he gave it up. He would give him the back off your shirt. He was the sweetest man in the world. Wow. And every day I get up, I think Papu, which is grandfather in Greek. There's another word for you. Papu
Papu.
Lee means little grandfather. And Mr. Seventh is here. So I'm going to put up the banner because you may not have seen it earlier. I did this for you tonight in my show with the boat. Just for you.
I think it's on mine too. I think it is. Yeah, it is.
I did it just for you, Seventh.
I don't think I did a notification on mine as well.
And I have a different logo up there that I have made, but I did that just for Seventh.
It's good to see you, Seventh.
For a few minutes so you can see.
Yeah, the Nothing But Ripples is there. Yeah.
He was the one that created that, so I did that and I put that up tonight.
But and it's a cool scrolling bar too.
Yeah. He was a sweet man, and he was just Papu is grandfather. Papu Lee is little grandfather.
Little grandfather.
Yep. And so
he would be a little. Is that just like an endearing term to say they're little grandfather, or is it like they're short?
Well, yeah, it does mean that short. Well, his brother was short. Yeah, his brother was shorter than he was, and he was called Papu Lee. It's just endearing.
Yeah,
like Papu and Papu Lee.
Like in Spanish, you might say like abuela is grandmother and abuelita is like grandmommy. It doesn't necessarily mean they're smaller, but it's like the way a little kid would say it. Yeah. You know.
And Dawn, I agree with you. I mean, and just imagine what it was like in the 50s for it to be done. In the 50s. To be diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. You didn't have it. Look what we're doing with fibromyalgia. Bing, 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 bing. Yes, you have that. You have that. Okay, you have it done. I'm out of here. That was pretty much it. There's no blood test to tell me I have it. He's just going from what symptoms I have and pressing on me to saying, yep.
Is that, yeah, they're just, somebody once, I read it's called a diagnosis of exclusion. Like they have to rule everything else out first before they diagnose you with fibromyalgia, right?
Not necessarily. They're looking at symptoms. No. They're looking at, what symptoms are they? Okay, she's got the fatigue, she's got the soreness, she's got the migraine, she's got this, this, and this, and this. Like still other who's had the MS diagnosis, it's all in your head. I'm sure that's what they thought of my grandfather. It's all in his head.
They didn't know as much about it.
He's gold bricking. He doesn't want to go out and do the work.
You know what's interesting? Early on, like when it's really early stages, it is difficult to tell. Actually, my family member, like they were diagnosed pretty young, like 40s. It was pretty early. And what she had said was that like the different markers that they would find in spinal fluid, like if you're not in the middle of a flare, they're not as high. So it might look like you don't have something because you're not in the middle of a flare. Like when your symptoms are worse.
Yeah, but you have no idea how to spell in Greek, so it's okay.
What was the word for little wiggle worm again? I've already lost it. I need to write it down. Skolikakimo.
Skolikakimo.
Because at first I thought you were going to say scoliosis.
I have no idea how to spell it. None whatsoever.
I just like wrote it out like it sounds to me. There's K's in it. I don't know.
I'm going to summarize, Dawn. I say this with great gratitude. Thank them for their service.
Yes, absolutely.
I used to walk into my grandfather's house. I used to say, Yasu Papu Tikanes. Yasu and Papu. Yasu or Opa is like you're celebrating. Yasu, Opa. When I go to the Greek fest and I take my thing, you'll see people going, Opa and Yasu. And I can't, mouth watering when I think of Greek food. That's comfort food for me is Greek food. And then Papu was grandfather in Greek, and Tikanis is how are you? So I would walk into the house and Yasu Papu Tikanis. I wish they would have taught me Greek. I could have been fluent in Greek. My grandmother, on the other hand, who was this Scottish woman, she was a hoot, and she was afraid because
different culturally, right?
I couldn't say grandfather or grandpa. So we said, say Papu, and I could say Papu.
Yeah.
Well, she thought in her case it would come out yo-yo. Our grandmother in Greek is Yaya. So she figured out in her case it would come out yo-yo. So she was going to have nothing to do with it. So she was Nana. There was the Scottish prayer. Miss Kelly B.
Hey, Kelly.
How are you?
Hey, Kelly B. I just watched your video.
We're chatting.
Right before this. I watched your video right before. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You woke up
But it's
and who
good to
you
hear from
found?
you.
Us
You found a
girls
Kristen
just chatting.
Melinda and a Mary and a Blessed to Crochet.
Yep. I have no idea. It's supposed to be a Greek word. I have no idea how to spell any.
Malacca? Ahidi?
Malacca.
I actually,
Well,
like, the Spanish I know is because my mother was a Spanish teacher and because I live in Texas. I don't have any heritage there at all.
well, see, I can say things like when I say baklava, we used to go in
Yeah.
my grandfather's garage, and there used to be a sign that used to say, "You bet your baklava in Greek." Well, I can have the tongue for doing baklava. It's there. I can say like the foods,
Smala.
spanakopita and moussaka and pasticcio and thropitas, and I've got the thing for it.
I love
didn't
hearing
think,
you speak and pronounce it like that. It just
yeah,
sounds so
but there
cool to me.
I mean, he was fluent in Greek, but they didn't think it
Wow.
was necessary to teach me how to speak Greek. And by the time I wanted to learn Greek, he had lost some of it.
Oh,
But
no.
they're gone now. We never knew my dad's dad was combat until he passed because he never
Oh,
talked
wow.
about it. Mom's dad was
wow.
the opposite and told all kinds of stories. Yeah, my dad told stories. My uncle, who
Yeah.
was served in Vietnam, never told stories. He didn't want to do it.
Really?
It may sound easy, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
My
I was
grandfather was in the Air Force, yeah, during World War II, and he actually wanted to be a fighter pilot, but he found out he was colorblind. Like, he didn't know because you just see things the way you see them. He didn't know he was colorblind, and so somebody told him.
Hi, Flamin'
Oh,
Jackson.
we love you too, Flamin' Jackson.
Yeah. My grandmother knew one Greek word. It was a cuss word. I don't remember it, but she said it was the only word she knew was a cuss word.
I mean, that's probably I don't know, functional.
My grandmother had this Scottish sense of humor. My grandfather was just loved part of life and just loved it. Well,
What is a
he had.
Scottish sense of humor like?
Well, I'm about ready to tell you. He had TMJ, so they had these little things on his face, a TENS unit that they had gotten the day, one day. Well, the day before, they had an aide that would come in and help take care of my grandfather and get him up and get him dressed. Well, they were having problems getting the shirt over my grandfather's head. So my grandma said, "Well, George, one of these days, we're just going to have to shrink your head." Okay. That was my grandma. Just come right out of it. The next day, the aide came in, and my grandfather had these things. He'd never seen them before, never knew they were on his face for his TMJ. My grandma just looked at them and said, without missing a beat, looked at the aide and said, "Told you I was going to shrink his head." That was exactly who she was. She was just this. She was just. But she would tell you exactly how it was. She was not going to mess around.
That's funny.
At all. She just was,
I wonder if they were just bewildered.
Oh my goodness.
Were they just
There
like,
was
no.
she was very attentive. She lived in like a circle, right? And we had a neighbor. She was a little girl, and she was standing right by her mother, and she's, pulling a little skirt. She looked up at my grandmother and she said, "Mom, Nan doesn't look like the witch of the neighborhood." But her son, who is doing great, he served in the military and did all that kind of stuff. He got himself into a lot of difficulty and a lot of trouble, and my grandmother found out about it every time. And
so he wasn't.
She called him.
He wasn't good at not getting caught. Huh? They say be good or be good at it. I guess he wasn't good at it. He got caught.
Yeah. Oh, he got caught. Oh boy. I'll tell
one of teenager. I usually didn't get caught.
Papa's favorite stories, but it will take a couple comments. So here's a gunner of his U.S. kid. His two brothers, Fred and Wallace, and his dad were also in the Navy, all in different ones.
On different
ships. Papa was target practice by shooting at an uninhabited island. Another ship was 1,000 or so yards offshore or another side of the island, and the radio operator was. She's still typing.
It's like a page turner. Like, I feel like I'm
Yes.
reading a book right now. And I'm like, what happens next?
She's her 47 tonight. She's her page 47.
Our page 47.
Yeah.
For those of you who haven't seen
But-
my channel, that's something I like to do.
Yes.
I like to get a random book and read page 47.
This little boy, I won't give you a name. My grandmother came over and said, his mother came over and said, I can't find so-and-so. Can you help me look for him? And the next door neighbor to that said, oh, can't find my little girl. Can you help us look? She wheeled my grandfather outside over to this house, which was next door, and put my grandfather in front of the garage as they're looking. And she said, look underneath the beds, look all over the place, look here, look. My grandfather says, I hear something from the garage. This little boy was 3 years old. He was underneath the car with matches.
Oh, no.
Trying to light the matches with the little girl underneath.
Oh, no. Where did you get the match?
I have no idea. But let's just say the little girl, listen, if you choose to spank your children, then that's up to you. The little girl got that. This little boy, the mother just looked and said, I guess your dad will have to talk to you when you get home, when he gets home. No, that would not have waited till you got home.
That seems
the
like
whole
it
thing
needs
could
an
have gone
immediate
kapow.
response of some kind. That's pretty dangerous.
I'm like, you glad you weren't my grandmother's son, because she'd have hightailed.
Like, I know a lot of people that generally don't believe in spanking, but then when it comes to like something that has to do with safety, like, it's different.
He was
right?
underneath the car with a book of matches, trying to light the matches with this little girl underneath the car.
That could have
telling
been
if he
awful.
hit the target or not, how far off he was. They were using a code names. After about a half an hour, Papa said the operator paused, then said Douglas's Papa's name.
He was target. I was going back and
That
catching
was
up.
scary.
He was target practicing. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Oh boy. What those people that had to serve, that sometimes in wartime, what they had to go through was unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
But he later on went and served in the military and successfully have had children and successfully have lived a nice, safe life with no more matches underneath the car.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. He didn't grow up to be a pyromaniac.
No, and his sister was one of my bridesmaids.
That's a symptom of what is it? Conduct disorder in children. It's literally in the book of diagnoses. Like, fire setting is listed as a symptom. He was a
troublemaker.
So
Papa paused and then said, Wallace, out of all the ships in the Navy, with all the different operators, he found his brother. Keep in mind, there were no cell phones he had. Oh, he was a troublemaker.
I'm still like on the edge of my seat. Like, what happens next?
My grandmother, they had 2 children. They had this little boy, and then they had this little boy, and then they had his sister, who was a bridesmaid in my wedding. And this was like 8:00 at night. She was probably about 11 years old. And she called up my grandmother, and she said, maybe it was earlier. She goes, Nan, she goes, I'm scared. She said, there's 2 men coming to deliver a bed. Do you imagine a bed, and you're leaving this child by themselves to collect a bed? What? And she said, can you come over here till they get done delivering the bed? So she went over and delivered, was there, and she left my grandfather, and she said, so-and-so, pretend I'm just a relative. I'm your grandmother. Don't tell them anything. I delivered the bed, and then she said, okay, pack your stuff up. You're coming over to spend the night over at my house, which they lived just next door. Oh, and so she did. She spent the night over. About 12:00 at night comes a knock on the door. It was her father. My grandmother came to the door and opened the door. He said, I'm here to collect her. She said, you can collect her in the morning. I am not waking her up. She will be available at 8:00 in the morning. Slam and close the door.
Well,
he just walked off. He knew you don't fool with Nan.
Yes, ma'am.
That was it.
Yes, ma'am.
That was it. You did not fool with my grandmother. No idea
You're a
which
good
ships his brother.
storyteller, Mary. Like I can hear it, and like I can see it in my head.
I've got some. When it comes to my grandmother, and if you ever hear me on the boat saying, "My inner Lizzie is about to come out," yep,
That's her. Yeah.
well, that my Nana was Annie. She never liked
Oh,
Annie.
okay.
But my grandmother, my great grandmother, was Lizzie. She was even tougher than my grandmother. You can just imagine.
Wow.
No idea which ships his brother and dad were on, yet somehow
Oh my
randomly found his
gosh.
brother in the middle of the ocean. That's amazing.
Whoa.
That's a book.
That's a God thing, right?
Yep, that's a book.
That is a book. That is a book. Absolutely.
That's a book for sure.
I was just talking about a book I read the other night about a guy that got lost at sea. It was not the same person. I don't know, but it's wild. And also kind of like terrifying.
Well, my uncle didn't. My uncle he came back from Vietnam. He didn't talk about it. My dad could have talked about it. He was on the Gemini pickup when they picked up, the things that dropped into the ocean. He was on that.
Mm. My grandfather didn't really talk about World War II much at all. Like he ended up being in charge of transport type stuff because he was in the Air Force, but he couldn't be a fighter pilot because of the color blindness. But my grandmother always described it as interesting. Like they got married right before he left, and then afterwards, when she was going overseas to be with him. Basically, he was still stationed there, and she said she got off the train and she didn't recognize him at first because he he looked physically different after everything. Like he was the same guy, like he was still him, but he looked physically different. And he'd taken up smoking cigars. So she's like, here was this like grizzled dude smoking cigars. Like, who is this? Where's my husband? Pretty wild. But when I knew him, he was very laid back, very kind of happy-go-lucky,
Well,
friendly
my uncle was
guy.
My uncle was a forward observer in the Vietnam War, and so amongst all the other traumas that he had to deal with, that was a position in the war that you went ahead of everybody else, and if you were quiet enough, you lived. And who saw who first? And I think he saw a lot of stuff that he just didn't want to remember. But
yeah,
he never talked about it very often. Papa did a series of interviews with Tampa Tribune right before he passed, which was unexpected. The article came out right before he died, talking about super grateful to have it. Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, to have the record.
This is where she says you can Google it. I'll have to Google that.
Really? I will.
You can Google Douglas Reach Tampa Tribune.
So I don't forget.
Yep.
Although I guess I could. Actually, my cell phone just died. My battery just died because my charger wasn't plugged in this whole time. That's when you know I've had a good chat. I don't even notice my cell phone. Like I'm just locked in on your stories.
Well, I'm going to take a picture of it, and then we'll remember it.
Good idea. I love that. I was just looking at what. Oh, still in leather. My grandfather was killed in World War II. Oh wow. I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, my uncle received five medals in the Vietnam, and one was for good conduct. And we were like, really?
I think my parents didn't have me until they were 35-ish. And so my grandparents were a little bit older. My dad, though, he was of the age that could have been drafted for Vietnam, but they missed him. So it was towards the end of it, when he was that age.
Well, my dad was served during wartime. So he got 8 independents later on.
Oh, okay.
But he was on the admiral staff. So he never went over to Vietnam.
Okay.
There's
a funny story about... Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
There's a funny story about someone in my family, and I won't out them, but it was around the time of the draft, and he was being very idealistic, and like there were a bunch of people protesting, and they were all burning their draft cards, and like, well, I'm gonna be idealistic with them, and I'm gonna burn mine too. And he actually threw his library card in the fire because he didn't want to get in trouble for burning his draft card. Burned his
That's one way
library
to
card.
do it.
But he married a librarian, and she was very upset with him. True story.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, wow. In a way that, I mean, it's amazing the like small things that happen that then like change the whole course of history
My
and
father was
lives.
stationed in the Philippines during the World War II, ended up being put in charge of the Yankee magazine.
Huh. On the coast of Normandy. Wow.
That's amazing. Well, wow. Everybody that has served, if you're listening, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your service.
Yes.
And not only that, your family service, because they serve right along with you.
Yeah, and absolutely.
I'm equally surprised how many times I see somebody in a military uniform and I say, thank you for your service. And they almost look at me like, did I hear somebody say thank you? Because I don't think enough people are saying it today.
I think you're right.
I know my dad would be like, Mary, I trained you. There's somebody, you better say it. And they look at you with this kind of like, thank you. But I don't, I don't know how to explain it. It's just kind of like they're appreciative of it. They want it, but almost like they're not getting it enough.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, I think that it needs to be done more and more. If we see somebody in military, they need to be thanked. You know, your first responders are the same way. They're in the front lines for us.
I think you're right.
What we do without
exactly
that.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. My son-in-law said that he had a situation happen, and he said he called the 911 to tell them what was happening, and they said those intersections do not cross. And he says, I've lived here for X amount of years. He said, I know what intersection I'm on. So he said they were on. He said, I know these roads. He said, well, they don't intercross. And so they sent him to the Kansas City.
What?
911 operator. Yes.
What?
Yes. And he said, what? He said he couldn't believe it. He was like, wait a minute. He said, I've lived. He said, I know these roads. They intersect here.
Don't know how to find you. So we'll send you to the other. That's wild. Hi, Rose Garland
from
Creation.
Australia.
Yeah,
I love roses. Roses are my favorite. They're my favorite.
I'm sorry I didn't enjoy Vegemite, but we love all the people from Australia, just not the Vegemite from Australia.
I'm not trying it. You can send it to me all you want. This girl is never trying it. All I needed to do was see your face. That was it.
You can try it vicariously through me. I like to try new things, even if I think it's probably going to be bad, just because I don't know. I'm a weirdo. But I like being a weirdo, so there's that. See, I tried it, so you don't have to. That's what it is.
And I'm very thankful, but I don't think you're going to try it again.
You're welcome. I do want to make the brownies with it that Sandy Wendy sent me the recipe for.
Can you not see my face?
But it's covered in like cocoa and sugar. I mean, I'm just curious. Honestly, at this point, it's just like morbid curiosity.
Go ahead and have more. Would you like me to make a bet with you?
Yes, let's do it. That sounds fun.
You have to have a plane
even
ticket.
if I lose. Oh, I have to have a plane ticket.
She has to come here.
If I make the brownies, like, wait, what are the conditions of the bet? How does it work?
I don't know. I'm just kidding, but I'm just like, I'm gonna sit here and say, I told you so. I told you so.
So if they're bad, you win. If they're good, okay. I see what you're saying. You know, I have been to Kansas
I
City
prefer you
before.
come
It's
in and
just been a
visit,
long
but I'll
time.
take it.
I would love to visit. I don't want to win the bet then. I want it to taste bad. So I lose and I just buy a plane ticket
I
and come visit
guarantee
you.
you it's going to be
That would be great.
horrible.
So it's a safe bet for you. I
Guarantee
don't
you it's going
know.
to be
If you cover
horrible.
everything up in chocolate. I mean, if you put enough chocolate on something, it tastes totally different, right? Maybe.
That's
I
your
don't know.
theory? That's what you're sticking to.
That's my theory. It
That's
does wake
kind of
you
like
up to
if
smell it.
we dunk the anchovies in chocolate, they're going to taste right. No, they're
But the
not.
anchovies are
Let's put them
tasty
on a
on their
pizza and they'll
own.
taste okay.
Vegemite is
No,
not.
we're not. Well, Rose Gardner, I'm glad that you're on this channel. We are
Me too.
serving in
It's good to
Vietnam. He
see
was a
you.
tank commander, and
Oh, wow.
his crew was able to perform so well, compete in the
Wow.
competitions instead of seeing the battle.
I did
Well,
not know they
again,
had
thank
tank
everybody for their
competitions.
service.
Absolutely, yes. I did not know they had tank competitions. Oh, regular brownies still in leather. I haven't done anything like that in a million years. I would probably fall asleep and not wake up for 18 hours. They're just brownies with chocolate and Vegemite in them.
And my dad was a big history buff. Rose Garden, I put Kristen's channel below, so go like that
Thank
one.
you.
She's on.
Thank you.
We just decided, oh, we're up. Let's just do a dual stream. And I'm glad we did, because you got to meet some people that you would have not others. And I expect all 9 people to go over and sub to her channel if you're not.
I'd
People
love to
do
have
not
you. You can watch me
realize
eat Vegemite.
how important subbing is. And I'm so close to 500, and that's what I want for my birthday present in June, is to reach 500.
It's a good birthday
It's just a
present.
little goal. It's just a little birthday present. All the watch hours of 3,000 would be really nice.
Get it.
And
it's going to happen.
I'm not doing this channel for anything else, but I want to help my mom out. I want to get my husband, who needs a diabetic service dog, that can cost between $15,000 to $20,000. I want to give back to the boat. I want to give to my church, and I want to start giving out blessing boxes to people that are on low incomes that need to be able to keep their hands busy. They're dealing with a chronic illness like I am with fibromyalgia, that would like to have, yarn so they can make things and give it to organizations. They have organizations that do hats and scarves for our military. They do blankets for animal shelters, hats and scarves for for home people that are homeless and so forth. And so that's what I want to do. I don't want anything, because the friendships that I've gotten from Kristen and my channel are priceless to me. They're truly priceless. And I just am so grateful. I will never be by myself again. And I've already told Spanx on June 18th, I want a party. I've already reserved the time.
That's right. You're going on the 18th.
Well, I'll be going on the boat from, that point on. But, and if people aren't familiar with the boat, here's the boat. That's where Kristen and I met.
Yep.
We said that at the same time. Is something going to happen here?
What I've said before is it's like magic. That's what it feels like.
I said met. You said met, both at the same time. We should have something. Right?
Jinx. Did you ever do that as a kid? Like, you say something at the same time as your friend. You say jinx, and then you count to 10. Then whoever gets to 10 first says, "You owe me a Coke."
My namesake had, she had suspicions. Like, she was super suspicious.
Oh,
and if you came in the same door as you left, even if the wife came in the front and the man came from the back, you all had to go out those perspective doors. And she could have 50 people in her house, and she knew exactly who came in one door and out the other.
Wow.
So,
like, it was bad luck to not go in and out. I
guess it was. One. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know if Chow's coming on tonight. That was 13 days ago. I'm looking to see if
usually
she's on.
I look for my notifications, but my phone battery,
That's what I'm looking for.
So usually I wait for a notification.
If people are not
familiar, I know when to wrap it up.
Oh, here she is. 209. So we got it. I got it here.
That's right. It's 209 for you. It's 109 here.
She comes on very odd hours, but if anybody is having trouble sleeping, just be careful. I will give you the caution that if you fall asleep listening to her stream,
Sleep. Wake up.
some odd things.
The conversation goes other places. You never know.
She's on now. She is the late night. She's a Denny's.
Yes,
she's
the
she's
Denny's
a booth
of
of
YouTube.
Denny's. So if you're having trouble, she welcomes us all in, us people that she calls dirty stay-ups, and we get to have fun and just chat and connect, and oftentimes fall asleep while we're listening to her calming voice for some reason. And she has a great night med song.
Oh, I love her night med song.
Sings a
It
lot
actually
better
does
than
help
this
me
girl
remember.
ever will. So, Kristen, this was a hoot. This was a ball. I had fun.
I love
Opa!
hanging out with you, Mary. Opa! Can I say it to you even though I'm not Greek? And I'm going to use this word for my son. Skolikakimo.
Skolikakimo. Yep.
Little wiggle worm. I love it. I learned something new. I'm so happy. Thank you for setting this up for us, Mary. I love it. And I love getting to meet people I didn't know I hadn't met or had seen otherwise.
Yes. Well, a service dog can cost a lot, and I am going to do something on my show. We're going to talk about the difference between service dogs and emotional support dogs. Ooh. Because there's a lot of misunderstanding. And I'm also going to have Cricket on to talk about traveling with disabilities, different kind of things, because she does. She is a travel agent. So we're going to talk about how people travel with disabilities on planes and cruise ships and all that kind of stuff, as well as the knowledge of traveling with a service dog as well. So I will have her on, but I want to do the episode first with the service dog. So thank you all for joining me. I had a blast.
Thanks for having me too. Yeah, let's go fall asleep to Cricket.
We'll give it a great
funny part of the conversation.
Well, I'll message you later. I'll tell you exactly when I fell asleep. Time I woke
let me know what you woke up to. Sounds like it's an off-air kind of thing.
Alrighty. Well, have a good night. You take care. I'll see you on the Denny's booth over at Cricket's.
Nice to meet anyone I hadn't met. Nice to see everybody. And
she's
awesome.
Talk to you later, You'll grow to love her as I have.
Thank you. Thank you.
We love you all. Have a good night. And remember what I always say, you all need to stay connected. It really does change lives. And it can be life-changing. And then you meet great friends like Kristen. All right. Have a good night. See you over at Cricket's. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Are we still on? It says everyone can see and hear you.
Well, bye, everybody.
This is the bloopers reel.